stocks. And I'm waking it up.
Some people don't want it to be recorded though, like that.
Listen, Patty, First Lady of Mail, they deserve the funds. They should open up a YouTube page. They deserve it.
Omar, listen.
I'm talking buku money a month. First, like y'all deserve.
Listen to me. If I want to do that, I will do that on my own time and in my own thoughts to make it happen. But me changing something because somebody is doing something to me is crazy work for you to suggest that.
No.
Just think about what you're saying. Yeah, but I'm dealing with a crisis right now, and now you're trying to tell me how to fucking solution something. That's not a solution to this problem. You're adding to the problem. Because you're normalizing the shit. Listen to me. You about to take a flight. Because you're normalizing the bullshit. It is invasive for somebody who is supposedly blocked from spaces to be able to come into a clubhouse room and to stream them without their fucking permission. That's the point here. I'm not worried about no damn money. All y'all worry about is trying to chase the damn dollar. I ain't gotta chase money. Money chase me, motherfucker. I don't chase money.
I'm just saying, man.
I'ma just say you in a minute. Listen, take your drunk ass somewhere and go lay down. Cause that's what's happening.
We're just getting one song only.
Hey. Ow. Hey.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't want. Sorry, I'll say this and I'll mute up. I just don't like too much power given to the West because I think it undermines the countries. And by the way, everything you said, Layla and Sajia, I hope I said your name right. This is the nuance that I think the Western media doesn't even talk about, right? Like the people that come from those countries, like you guys are speaking from understanding how these countries work and stuff like that, right? When you watch the media and stuff, they don't know how to talk about this. They miss that nuance, right? That there is a major war, right? You could argue there's a major war between Muslims versus Jews with Israel, right? But there's other conflicts going on, tribal or sectarian, like Shia and stuff. And I'm glad you mentioned that because those are all part of it. It's not about, I'm not saying this to take the blame off Israel, none of that. I'm just saying that all of these things are happening at the same time. And that's why I like talking to people on Clubhouse. Thank you.
Just as a quick point, I think it's fascinating thing just to, for people to reflect on is see that how Donald Trump had to deal with the Iranian situation, right? And it shows the strength of the American system because he actually...
I think it's fascinating the fact that you think you have the right to the land and you're not even fucking Jewish.
All right, cool.
No, it's fascinating to think that you can actually think.
Yeah, cool. But the point is that's good. Back to something real. The point is saying, you see...
No one cares what you think, bro. No one cares.
Everybody, if they did, you wouldn't have to say what you're saying, right? So the point is saying that you see the strength of the American system, and this is a reason why when we talk about American dominance in the world, we're not just talking about this idea of subjugating people, but rather giving them instruments of change, right? So, for example, Trump wanted to go further in Iran, but he said, you know what? Let's take this victory and let's get out of there. Midterm elections are coming up. I don't want the Democrats to weaponize this war, blah, 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 blah. So just get in and out. We did damage and everything's good, right? Because we need to keep our congressional seats. So the point is just saying, this is the power of the American system, that no single authority, right, is going to be able to be a dictator. Right, and I think that's what you guys
talk about. Dictators, Black Rabbi, you use the words power and dominate, and what was the other word you used? Anyway, something like that. And the thing is, you're all about this dominating, authoritative, taking over, having others submit to you.
No.
And you try to, and it's as if you're doing it yourself, but you're not. You're only a cog in the machine. You're not relevant in the grand scheme of things. But
maybe
you want to make yourself relevant.
Not until he becomes president.
But that's not the point. The point is not talking about my relevance, right? What we're saying is looking at the mechanism of the United States government, the most powerful force in the world. And I just
There
say
you go,
to you guys,
power.
you guys should not be scared of American dominance. And in fact, American dominance frees the Muslim in the Middle East, right? Frees the African, right? So this dynamic of fear of American power, you think this is like colonialist, Britain or something. You know what I mean? No, we come in with free market system. We're coming with music. We're coming with fashion. We're coming with technology. We're coming with AI.
Music, fashion.
So we're coming.
Black Rabbi, technology. Like the world is creating their technologies now.
But
You're not coming
music.
with anything.
Oh no, there's this mention music. He definitely can't dance. He mentioned fashion. He can't dress. Sing. Come on.
You can't dance. You can't dress.
You like. See, yeah, but you got to look at that. You have to think about that line. We're bringing music. We're bringing fashion. Now, if I'm saying it on TV, the American public understands that. See, you're laughing at it, but the people that I'm going to be talking to on television, they're going to understand that line. That's going to mean something, right?
Well, try it. Test it out. See if it passes, and then come back and let us know.
Here, let me give you an example.
Right now,
Let me give you an example. Like in the I don't know what era it was, but if you notice, like rap, hip hop music, they never used lyrics like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Versace. That was all a role for the like luxury branding to not go bankrupt. So if you notice, like all of a sudden, and all these rap songs have like these designer labels, and who's the second richest man in the world is the gentleman who owns LVMH, Louis Vuitton, which is like a lot of brands under it. And so yeah, they do use branding and fashion to manipulate and to get these billionaires even richer. So
and that's not even an American company, Black Rabbi. That's not even an American company. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's a very important point, Howard. The beauty of the American system is we don't have to own everything. I mean, I know Trump's tariffs give that impression, but the fact that you're participating in consumerism, that's it. That's the war. Once you agree to consumerism, we have now your society.
Speaking of consumerism, can you buy a new mic?
That would be nice. And buy it from China. They make better quality mics than what you could find here in the U.S.
But what are your thoughts
Or in Israel.
back to Iran and America, like the whole funding purpose, right? So if you look at it after a week of bombing, I mean, obviously America is going to provide missiles and weapons and provide funding for the war, where China and Russia agreed with Iran. So do you think that was a threat, or like do you think that plays a role or not?
Was that a question towards me or someone else?
Well, just everybody in general, because I feel like
Anyone with a mic.
You said Iran what again? Sorry, yeah?
I was saying how like when they came to an agreement, like China and Russia, would support Iran. Let's say if they went into war longer. But if you realize like America will be like providing nuclear weapons and all that stuff, they don't lose anything. If anything, it's the taxpayer monies, right? Or do you think it was a threat for like the Trump administration when China and Russia agreed with Iran? Like, what do you guys think?
Trump would agree. I don't know if you heard in the middle, like, 6 months, a year ago, right? During this Ukraine war or whatever, a lot of people were saying is Trump is begging to Putin, the Russian leader. So, I don't know. What do you guys, Edward, was it you or something? Remember we talked about this, right? About 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something?
About Ukraine, Trump.
Trump was like pretty much on his knees for Russian leader, right?
Yeah, well, Well, Trump foolishly made it a campaign promise that got him into the presidency, and then of course Russia, is maximizing that leverage, and so and despite what the West says and the U.S. says how Russia is losing, if it's losing, why is Russia in Ukraine, not the other way around? And why is Russia not, and they are offering to sit down with Ukraine. I don't think Russia wants to give the win to Trump, is what the issue is. I don't think that they want Trump in the middle. They want it to, they want to go through Ukraine directly. So it's, and keep in mind it was the U.S. that stopped the ceasefire agreement between the two countries in 2022, along with Germany. They were sitting down. Russia gave them a great offer. They kept some of one of the provinces at their border that is Russian, basically. And as long as they didn't join NATO, there would be no war. They would stop the war. And and Zelensky initialed the ceasefire agreement. It's like hundreds of pages long. Permanent agreement, by the way. And you initial it, and then you sign the whole thing. Before he signed it, the U.S. and Germans got involved and told him, no, we'll give you all the weapons, all the money, everything you need to go to war with Russia. And it was just to keep Russia busy. It was just to keep them busy, because Russia is aligned with China, and so but that's nearing its end. There's no more fight in that war left. Here's something I did hear, Amir. This is from a friend of mine. Her brother went to Poland to visit his family, and she was worried about him, and he came back. But and I don't know why. I gotta look this up. I forgot to look this up. They're forcing people outside of Poland, Polish people that come to visit. They're forcing everybody, conscripting them into the military in Poland. For some reason, I'm not sure why.
You think they're preparing them for a possible war with Russia?
People say
NATO already declared. NATO basically, in many ways, is the language. If you look at the German council or whoever, their language is that that NATO in essence is going to go to. You know what I mean? Like that's it's not said. It's not exactly. I mean, they are funding Ukraine right now. I mean, that's pretty much a declaration of war. But the question is of expanding. If they're going to go and get rid of Putin, now's the time.
It's easier to say this country is going to go to war with this country, A is going to go to war with B, but Poland is a large, fairly developed country, and they have to weigh the risk. Do they want their infrastructure destroyed? Because if it's destroyed, there's nobody out there that's going to help them rebuild. Like, unlike Israel, they don't have an American backer. They don't have an infinite amount of money to pour into their country. So I don't think they'll go to war.
Of American money.
Poland is developed. I wouldn't say fairly developed. It's a developed country. I've been there to like 3 cities in Poland. It's very developed.
Yeah, I said, fair. I didn't say fully developed.
No, it is. It's like yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. A fully developed country. The more developed you are as a nation, and of course, depending on your size, I mean, it's a fairly large country. The more you have to lose. I mean, it would just. You don't even have to. Poland, like you don't have to beat Poland. You could just destroy enough of their, infrastructure. You destroy their economy. You destroy Poland. That's just for any country. So, it's not that easy. That this country will go to war with that country. Even if you win, you could still be destroyed.
No, but I agree with you, but what I'm saying now is just like it's a massive consolidation of power and interests, right? So just say like what and this is the sad thing. It's like you guys talk about Iran and you guys are defending them. It's like this is crazy, but the reality is it's like everybody wants peace, right? All the Gulf states.
No, we just defend any country that attacks Israel.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fuck Israel.
Right?
So Israel's definition of peace is firing at Iran first. That makes sense.
No.
Well, when it came to Gaza before this war here, to warn people that they're going to bomb a building, apartment building. Hold on a second, hold on, Teddy. To warn them before they drop the big bomb, they would drop a small bomb on the building. I'm not even joking. That's they call that's the warning. That's the warning bomb for people to leave the building before they drop the big bomb on the building. And so if everybody leaves the building, then why are you bombing the building to begin with? But anyways, I mean, I just found that to be very interesting. They called it the knocker.
The point is saying the Gulf states all want peace, right? The Jordan,
It would happen without Israel.
Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Israel. Everybody wants to unify. The only people who
Not
are
unify.
stinking up the middle.
They don't want to be one nation. What are you talking about?
Israel's like that, but that kid in the playground is not welcome in any circle or group.
No, he's like that. He's like that dirty old uncle.
No, but like, you know those people like will do anything to be friends with a group of popular kids, right? That's what Israel's like.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that analogy. But the point I'm saying is still, Syria wants to be. Syria and Israel are in communication every day. They're normalizing. It's happening. Two, Jordan and Egypt are already partners, right? Already partners, right? And then now you have the people like Qatar who have generally been anti, right? They're joining the party with the UAE and Bahrain and Saudi. They're joining that party. We're going to have a Middle East that's completely unified. We have to get rid of it.
You're forgetting something, Black Rabbi. Saudi Arabia is not going to join until there is a solution for the Palestinians to have their own.
It's BS. It's BS. It's BS.
This is where your peace theory.
I know that.
This is where your peace theory falls apart, because you're fine with peace with other people, but you're fine with massacring human beings. And so
you see how you took. You see how you took my position.
Yes, he's definitely a peace. But remember, your mentality it's the same as Hitler, right? Well, let's be honest, same as Hitler. Let's have peace in the country, and let's wipe them all out, and then we'll have peace.
I wanna point out with Edwards.
And it's not BS either, because this is what Saudi Arabia's position
I didn't say.
exactly.
Yeah, but they're doing business with everybody's working. Okay, but I'm saying
they're not joining the Abraham Accords until. And Trump even said this other day.
They don't need.
And Netanyahu said this other day. Everybody knows this, but you don't know this?
That's talk. It's just talk.
No, you have wishful thinking. See, you don't want the Palestinians to have their own, and you have this wishful thinking that we're not going to get.
Why do I have anything against the Palestinians? Why are you saying that?
Because you're evil.
Why you're sick?
So I'm evil.
You don't, of course, you don't think I think you're decent. Of course I think
of course. Okay, but this is the root of your argument, and this is how people need to be educated about this argument. You take the fact that I said that Palestine, there's going to be no state created whatsoever. Everyone knows that, right? But they have to say these things because of the political climate. Everyone knows that. The actions prove it, everything, right? So the point is saying, so you take that position, and now you say you hate Palestinians, you want them to be murdered, and this whole thing, and that is the intellectual dishonesty, and that's the...
Black Rabbi, is this the first time you've been in this room?
Wait. That's the emotional weaponization that you guys use around this cause. And anybody, you're a baby killer,
Our baby's not being killed?
No, but this is the point. So the dynamic is saying that you guys weaponize emotions, and you've used it.
You weaponize weapons.
Fine, but American people need to understand these arguments. That's my only point. They can decide what they want.
Understand. That's why they're not with Israel anymore.
No, they don't understand. I have to educate them. And
go do it right now. Leave us alone.
calm down. The point is saying you guys use emotional weaponization to control people around your cause. It's a form of intellectual terrorism.
We don't
The
have
thing is yeah.
intellectual
Yeah.
terrorism. We don't
that's
have
what
to.
it
We don't have to control emotions.
terrorism.
We don't have to control emotions, Black Rabbi.
That's what
We
you're
don't have to
attempting
control
to.
anything. Actually, all people have to do is turn on social media and look at the videos that are
Yeah,
coming out.
that's
And
part of the brainwashing. That's part of the brainwashing.
No,
That's part of the
that's-
brainwashing.
We didn't put the videos up there.
Can I
Yeah,
The
ask,
Israelis
Yeah,
did.
you did.
The
Yeah.
Edward,
IDF did.
Edward, can I ask you a question, right?
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
There's a movement within the MAGA, right, that doesn't like war right now, right? So let me ask you a question, right? Just pretend, I don't know where you're from, but just pretend you're American right now. Would you want Trump to put you? Okay, would you want Trump to put you into a war?
No, hell no. No.
Hold on.
No, we're
This is
$35 trillion
Maxie
in
Edward,
debt.
please.
We're
It's just-
$35 trillion in debt.
Right, okay. Forget the debt aside, right? Would you want to go into war that Trump told you to go into with let's say another country that could be less powerful than you? It's a simple question. You wouldn't want that, right?
No.
Okay,
No,
so let me ask you a question, right? Prior to October 7th, right, there was mass protests against Hamas, right? So let me ask you a question. Is it fair that Hamas forced the Palestinian people into a genocide conflict that they knew they probably likely wouldn't have won? Do you think that was fair to them?
Talking about.
I'm asking him a question.
No,
I'm asking a question.
we were already in a slow burn genocide to begin with.
No, I'm talking about
October
Hamas
7th.
making that decision for Palestinian
No,
people
no,
to
I'm
start a
talking before
conflict
October-
that they would not win, or a
Before
genocide,
October
whatever you
7th.
want to call them.
Okay, before October 7th, October 6th, and before, Palestinians were already being genocided.
Fair enough.
This is the
Anytime.
culmination.
Sure.
This is the culmination of
I
what
am-
happens when you go to
and I agree
genocide
with
of
you.
people.
And I agree with you. There were conditions prior to October 7th that there was always problems in this region, right? I agree with you. But what I'm saying is Hamas took out all their enemies, right? And they monopolized representing the Palestinian people. And they started, or not started, maybe that's the wrong word, right? But they
somebody said
they
took out
responded.
their enemies.
Yeah,
What do
okay,
you
so,
mean by took out their enemies?
okay, is Israel not their enemy?
Oh, okay. I don't understand what you're saying, but
My point is that look, I think you're thinking that I'm saying that it's not justified or anything. I'm not making the moral part of the conversation. That's what
you
Black
just
is trying
confused
to
me
avoid.
about took out their enemies. I wasn't sure what
Yeah,
you meant.
I'm just. It's a simple question. It's like, did Hamas make that decision for the Palestinians? Did they ask all the Palestinian people that they were going to, get into a conflict, whether it's for a morally good cause or not? Like, do you think that any of them had reservations? Did they all want to be martyrs? Did they all want to be, part of a conflict? Because you right now wouldn't want Trump to make that decision for you and force you into a conflict, correct? But you seem to think that all Palestinian people want to be martyrs and forced into a conflict. Why is that?
Wait, so
That's a
I mean,
great
it
argument,
was for me.
and I'm using it.
Black Rabbi.
It was for me.
It's a great argument.
It was for me.
No, I'm curious.
Black Rabbi.
So
It's hypothetical.
in 2023, my two cousins that died on the by the IDF, they didn't choose to die. The thousands and tens of thousands of Palestinians have died since 1967 and to present. In the West
There's
Bank.
forced conscription,
They
right?
didn't-
With Israel,
No.
is that not?
Wait, no.
No?
Let me make it clear. My two cousins, one of them that was in his house when the Israelis came to his door and shot him dead, and my other cousin who was walking down the street and saw someone get shot and went to help him, and 20 years old and was shot in the head. Both passed away in 2023. No one asked them if they can live or die. Israel's
Exactly.
not asking us Palestinians if we can live or die. They're only giving us one choice: to die.
You're not
So they're
answer
killing
her
us.
question. Answer her
They're
question.
killing us.
Would you
Shut up.
Black
No,
Rabbi?
hold on, because I would ask the same thing for Israeli people,
So
right?
I'm showing
No,
it's
no,
not
I know.
equivalent.
I know.
So what-
I'm not trying
I
to
don't-
say equivalent. Why is everything equivalent?
No,
I
Hold
don't
on.
understand what your
Because-
point. What are they
Let me-
supposed to do?
Let me answer.
That- Wednesday, Wednesday, that's my point.
Hypothetical.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do?
They have no choice. They have to go into the conflict. Yes, that's my point. They have no choice. That's what happens, right? When you're not under a democracy, right? Hold on.
No. That has something to do with a democracy.
Or not democracy, or any regime.
Let's say hypothetically, Palestine was a democracy, but
it doesn't have to be a democracy. I'm not.
By Israel, okay? It has nothing to do with.
I never said that. I never said that they have to be under Israel. No. That's not my point.
Word democracy.
No.
I feel like
Wednesday, can I talk, please?
I feel like you're making it seem that
Wednesday.
I feel like you're making it seem as if they're killing their own children. Like even what's his name down there? I feel like you're agreeing.
I never said that.
Right now.
No, I never did. Because I'm gonna make the same argument. I'm gonna make the same argument on the other side, right?
So
Israeli people,
right?
right? No, hold on. I'm asking hypothetical questions. I don't want to.
This lady ask questions so we know what she's talking about.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so it's just questions, please. So with Israeli people too, right? Because I looked it up, right? There is a lot of I think they have this mandatory conscription, right? Where a certain age you have to be a part of the military, right? And this is why there's been a lot of backlash against Netanyahu as well, right? Are we assuming, right? Because we're from the outside, right? Maybe Edward, I don't think you are, right? But for the rest of us who are from the outside, are we assuming every Israeli supports Netanyahu, and are we assuming everyone supports Hamas, or are these kind of situations in a way inevitable, like this clash that ended up happening, right? And so my thing is that what I don't get with people that live in America and other countries is that you don't want war, you don't want Trump to send your children into war, but yet you are cheering for other countries that don't have a say, really. They really don't have a say. In Sudan, in Palestine, in Israel, in Syria, in all these countries, they don't have a choice. Exactly. So I'm not trying to paint any group as, same with the Houthis, all of these people. I have family in Yemen as well, Edward, right? So my thing is that they don't necessarily have a choice, right? This is what all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to paint one group or another. This is just their destiny.
Where I would clarify with you is the difference here is, when war is brought to us or brought to a people, any people, how would they react anywhere? If the same thing happened that has happened to the Palestinians, has been happening for decades to the Palestinians, happened to any other group of people on the planet, would they fight back? And because they're not Palestinians, they do fight back, but they're not they're not how should I put it? They're not it's not portrayed as, they must hate the people that are trying to kill them. They must be they must hate them. They must be racist. They must be doing it for religious purposes, not because you're literally attacking them. But with Palestinians, for us, we hate Jews. We we are barbarians. We're savages. Every excuse under the sun, except literally the occupation and the people that are attacking us as a reason for us attacking back or being violent against them. And so that's what I want to clarify, that is a distinction. Unfortunately, it's a distinction, a double standard that the world places on Palestinians that is not placing on other people. We know why the Sudanese are fighting. It's not because they're racist and barbaric. We know that people are attacking them. We know that outsiders are involved, and no one questions it. Like, no one says that the Sudanese people are bad people for fighting back. No one says that.
Edward, Afghanistan's a prime example. You have the British go 3 times, Russia and America. They never all went for strategy to win that war. Afghanistan had nothing to do with 9/11. That's just a prime example. It's a generation I think all of us can relate to. And they didn't give up. They sat their puppets in the government. They fought, and they fought to the end. Until 3 years ago, Afghanistan was under, a certain occupation, and now Afghanistan is free from the evil from the Zionists. You know, you talk to the Taliban, they say my fight wasn't with America or Russia. Our fight was with the Yahud and Nasara, which is, you know, they're going based off within the Quran, and that's what their fight was, and they didn't give up.
Yeah.
Edward, the question is, were the people in Gaza, did they make the decision for October 7th?
He answered the question.
I answered it.
He answered the question.
The
He
decision
answered
was
the
made
question.
for them by Israel.
He answered the question. If you don't like the question it's answered, that's your problem. That's a you problem.
I'm
The
talking.
decision was made by Israel and Hamas. I don't think it's right.
No,
to just
Hamas is not one group. It's not one group. It is made up of at least 15 resistance forces that have come together to work under one banner
No,
for one
I'm
purpose.
not
It's
taking
not
away from
it's not
it.
one group. So,
No, I'm
so
trying to be clear.
Hold on.
Were the
He
people...
answered the question.
Yes, but no, hold on, Wednesday, right? Because I think the conversation now is shifted into whether it was a just war, right? I think that's what Edward, what you're trying to say, right? Was it justified?
You're making me lost. The way you think is making me lost. Because you're a type of person that waffles a lot, okay? You waffle a lot.
That's not my
Is it a
intention.
just war? Is it a just war
Yeah.
that you don't want to be oppressed and suppressed? Hell yeah, it's a just war.
Wednesday, let me answer your question, right? Are there other oppressed people?
What does that got to do with the price of tea in China? Yes, in the Congo, there is. Yes, in Sudan, there is. Yes,
So if you were oppressed, you would go to war? You would go to war, right? If you're oppressed.
My
Okay,
people
fair enough.
did. Hold on. No, fair enough, Mike. When America won Puerto Rico after the Spanish-American War, Puerto Ricans resisted. They resisted to the bitter end. What is wrong with resisting? Do you
I
have
didn't
a
say,
problem
I
with
didn't,
resisting?
but that's
Do
the
you
thing.
think that everybody needs to just put the white flag and says,
Wednesday,
you're stronger than us?
Wednesday.
So we need to take it up
We're just
the
having
fight.
an intellectual discussion here, and you're getting this personal problem.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, no, don't. I'm not trying to confuse you, or it's like, I never made a moral argument. I didn't paint one group as bad or anything. I didn't say any of that, right? My group of people also resisted, right? So you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to paint Palestinian people. I think the problem is there's been so much coverage that anytime people talk about this, people automatically assume that you have this type of opinion. I'm Muslim. My people are painted as savages too. So I understand.
Right,
You
so
know?
what I don't understand is what your agenda is.
No, but
We understand what she's saying.
No, he's not talking.
Teddy, can I explain Wednesday what I mean, and I'll tell you
You
what I
have to
mean.
explain.
You have people in America. Oh my God, we have people in America, okay, who are anti-war, right? Who want to cheer on Palestinian people, right, or whatever. And for me, the reason it rubs me off the wrong way is because they make it seem as if people are enjoying this, or that they're like, you know, and it's like, this is the fate that was like put on them. This was, you know, like what did Lincoln say? There's a time for war and there's time for peace, right? And my thing is that the people who are very anti-war in Trump, that group, they don't want war, but they want to cheer on other people. This is the times we're in, the modern times we're in, where we don't want to fight our wars, but we're willing to finance other people to fight our wars. And I think that's cowardly.
America.
I think it's cowardly.
America has been doing that for a while.
Yes, and that's the issue I have. I've always had more of an issue with America. I'll be honest, I'm biased. I have more of an issue with America. I have more of an issue with these rich countries who are using Ukraine, Palestine, and stuff as cannon fodders. That's my issue. That's my bias.
Well, yeah, the reason why America is using Ukraine is because they want to destroy Russia. We know that Russia, and because Russia's an enemy to America, and they figured if they take out one, then the only thing they have to worry about is China with Taiwan.
Right, but do you see how you rationalize this without getting emotional and thinking? I could have, you know what I mean? Like, someone could have said, well, you know, well, what do you think of Taiwanese people? They're not savage, no. You were able to talk about it.
I didn't understand why you asked. My problem was, if you would have to ask everybody else in the panel, I could have understood the hypothetical. But the fact that you asked Edward, who's a Palestinian himself, who has lost
I
family
apologize.
members there.
I didn't know
That
that.
was what threw me off.
Oh, I'm sorry. I honestly did not know that until he went into
But this room is made to have a conversation with the Palestinians.
I understand. I understood.
I didn't assume that everyone was Palestinian. I'm sorry if it was insensitive.
No, it's no.
Well, she actually thought it was American only, didn't she? She actually did.
Yeah, because of my white voice. Yeah. No, but no, I do want to make a point here, which does get me pissed off. Because he said Yemen. Yemen is literally throwing, shooting missiles at Israel right now, and nobody's saying that the Yemenis people are anti-Semitic or hate Jews. Nobody's saying that. I haven't heard that. And Yemen got into this with Israel because to support the Palestinians. So Israel wasn't directly they weren't attacking Yemen, but Yemen decided to attack to support Palestinians, and nobody's even saying anything about them and saying that they're not. I think that they're anti-Semitic. I mean, there's Jews in Yemen, but nobody's saying anything about the Yemenis people hate Jewish people.
No, I think they do.
This is a religious war. This is religion, and we need to kill them because that's what Islam says, that we need to kill all the Jews. But this is exactly what is said when it comes to Palestinians, and we're the ones being occupied.
I think that the Yemenis, anyone who talks about what's happening in Gaza right now, they are getting this from the Zionists. I don't think it's just exclusively for Palestinians. I get your point, but it's not necessarily true because for me as someone who's not Palestinian, when I speak about that kind of stuff, I do get this whole you hate Jews and you're anti-Semite. I don't think that's fair to say, to be honest.
In that respect, you're right. I'm talking about
the Yemeni people themselves, even in the news, or whenever there's a conversation about what's happening, what the Yemenis are doing in Israel, they do get the smoke. They do call them anti-Semite. They do say that they.
But I don't hear them say. That's the thing, though. In the news, the media, I don't hear them saying that the Yemeni people are anti-Semitic or they're going after Israel because they're Jews. I don't hear that.
I've heard it as well. I don't know if you haven't heard it, but I've heard it.
That definitely has been said.
We spent, Israel has spent decades convincing the world that the reason that we are attacking Israel is because we hate Jews, and it's just what we want to do, and we would rather kill a Jew. We love killing Jews more than our own children. I think that's Golda Meir who said that. And so we are, in the last decade or so, have started
ongoing visibility, being live with audio, values transparency, seeks to shape this public narrative more closely, targets a broader, younger audience through video platforms. So it's just he's trying to train himself with our content, hide behind our content. Because he could do all this without us, all of it, Yeah, we need to get ahead of this and nominate someone. This is ridiculous. It's just unacceptable.
It's just happening like that.
It's 21st century slavery. That's what it is.
What are you talking about? I'll figure out.
He's trying to win.
Who is he?
This dude that's running for office, John Kitover on Clubhouse.
What office? Is it a federal office? Is he running for president? What's office?
Nothing major, I believe. He's running for Congress. No. Hold on. He's currently not serving in Congress. He's a Republican candidate running for the House of Representatives. He's trying to become a congressman. Yeah.
So what did that do with slavery again?
He's using you to become a congressman, saying that you voted for that you're his people, you're his, he's serving you. He's not. He's trying to make you serve him. and get him paid by just existing.
So, according to YouTube, taking my vote away?
Just it's like the laziest thought pattern any white man's ever had in 2025.
Well, you know, Clubhouse is already, down your voice to people, right? Do you have a conversation with you guys?
That's fine. Yeah, but I mean, nobody else is trying to become president over it, over my opinions and views, or your opinions and views, or anyone else's. I'm very interested, who's going to take up the reins for the Black Party. They really screwed that for a while, but I feel like that could come back. I'll look it up.
Wait, what? The Black Party?
The Black Party, remember? When, they used it for the longest. Remember the whole Vote or Die campaign? They used him, like when his star was still rising. And, once it started fading, they got rid of him. But the Black Party is what he came up with because he got sick of being their, whipping boy. But that wasn't something he came up with. It was something they let him be the face of, and it ended up blowing up in our face.
So I discovered something that's going on crazy there are some Black Hebrew Israelites who are doing this thing called church blitzes, where they are like getting together in groups and just bombarding churches during service. Anybody heard about that? They just coming in, they going in.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, they coming in groups. Yeah, they come in big groups, they get together, and they call it a Bible blitz, where they go in and start during church service, and start interrupting the church service and reading, or reading outside the church and causing disruption. Yeah, it's been going on a lot actually. Let's see that before. Yeah, they going in they starting to use their hyper aggression and actually attacking churches. Not physically, but.
Regime change, sort of. Yeah, that makes sense.
That don't make sense at all. It's actually very dangerous. And
They're gonna run up on the right one, though.
They can go to Access Church.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Don't do that shit in Texas.
Yeah, I'm in Texas too, so I've never seen them here though. But yeah, like I said, they're gonna run up on the right one. That's wild though.
But they pick. I think they know who to go to too as well. I think.
Yeah.
One thing about them, they pick the right areas to be out at too, right? They pick the right people to curse out at. They're not. Yeah, they're very strategic with it, but also too So
I just feel
yeah, no.
That is interesting. Thank you for sharing that. But I was
X, Y, Z. And when I said, wait a minute, hold up, he didn't say it again. So, he was just repeating what someone else had put there. He obviously, when he followed you, y'all followed each other, it wasn't he had that information ahead of time, right? A lot of times people on the app, may not know that information because they may not be in the same spaces that you're in. But now that he was in politically correct, somebody put it there, now he knows it, and he was like, well, I just want to know. That's why he was like, because if in fact he is a sex trafficker, he didn't say that you were, he said if.
No, what he said was, his exact words were, I heard he's a sex trafficker. Let me address that real quick. For all you pseudo-intellectuals. Anybody who's a sex trafficker or is convicted of sex trafficking, you're in a sex offender registry. I will give anybody, this is my word, Raj, I'll give you the money, I'll sell it to you right now. $5 grand cash if you could find me any sex offender registry. But people love to grab the lowest fruit, see? So here's the deal. I get it. I trigger some black people because I have racial relation groups. Right? I get it. But why can't you stay on a fucking topic? Why do you have to grab the lowest hanging fruit? It's enough. I said a comment, Lady Jean, I meant it. The cracker in the corner, in my opinion, the biggest problem in the black community is the lack of communication in the black community. Oh, that set people on fire. But that didn't stop Sweet from giving me a fucking hand job under the table. Or Moose, right? I'll say this, Lady G, respectfully, not to you, but to anybody. People want real until real shows up. Then they don't know what to fucking do with it.
Well, let's slow the train down. Let's slow the train down. Let's slow the train down. Because right now, what I don't want is for us to have a all-out brawl, kind of situation. I would rather have a conversation with you personally. Now you're on the stage. I don't do all this performance stuff. I wouldn't even come in here, to be honest with you, because I don't like all this. It makes me nervous, to be honest.
Patty, just because people think that they know things doesn't... I'm sorry.
No.
Lady, just because people think that they know stuff, okay, doesn't mean that they need to repeat it. One of your married mods has been having an affair with 4 different men on this app. Do I need to open up a room and have that conversation?
Adams,
What's going on?
Adams, we're not going down that lane. Look, I don't care what they do politically correct. I've supported that space since day one. I've shouted them out, and I shouted them out for 2 reasons. Here's my 2 reasons. First Lady and Patty. They've been my friends for years. They've always shown me grace and space. But let me tell you something. I invite you to my house. You come in. I feed you a steak dinner. I come to your house. You make me eat at the garbage pail. And that's exactly how I felt. See, that's exactly how I feel. I was abused in that space. Shame on that house. And you say you don't want to war? Well, I didn't bring the smoke.
But wait a minute.
So who wants to smoke with you, JB?
Nobody, Craig. I promise, nobody wants to smoke. Listen, here's the thing. I nor Patty was there. That would not have went on if it was. When I arrived, whatever had been said ahead of time, I cannot change. But moving forward, when I got there, I shut it down. Period. That's it. That's all. You have been my friend on this app since I've been here, since I've known you. We've modded spaces together from the beginning, and that will always be. So, please don't allow whatever has been said there, at that point in time, to impact how you feel about politically correct, because I understand, whatever happened, Patty nor I was there to be, or to stand on what politically correct is all about. Does that make sense?
Yes, let me say something here, Lady G, please. And I just need you to meet up and get a little feedback.
Sure.
Thank you. So let me say something. Now, I'm going to ask everybody on the stage, please respect me until I'm done saying this. Every time I open a room, I always in my mind say, I got to keep this room from getting this house doxxed. I owe that to my friend Roger, who gave me the ability to open these rooms, who saw something to me I didn't see. See, I was opening rooms on my own. He